In my job as an RPA developer, I'll often come across the problem that I'll need to split a PDF into separate PDFs. Often it's invoices in that PDF. It will look like this. So this is the PDF that I'll be getting. You can see here that we have a lot of invoices in, actually only 3 today, but usually I'll have like maybe 100. So to work with the data, I need to split each invoice into a separate PDF. We will see how that is done in UiPath. And even if you're not here for this specific problem, I'll recommend you to stay tuned because you'll learn a lot about file handling in UiPath and regex. Let's get started. The first thing that we'll do is to go to Manage Packages because we need to install the PDF package. So click All Packages, then we'll click Search and we'll search for PDF. And take the UiPath.PDF.Activities, click Install and click Save. Now we have installed the package. Then we can read the PDF into a string so we can work with it. So go to Activities and we'll find a read PDF here and drag it in. Make sure you take the read PDF text. So we want a file name here. That's the file name of the PDF, as you might have guessed. We can specify what range we want to read. We just read everything here. And then we will output it to a string. So in this folder here, I have my invoice A. That's the invoice you just saw. So what I'll do is that I'll shift right click, copy as path. Then I'll create a variable instead of just hard coding in up here. So click variables. And what I will do here is that I'll say, and call it str path. Then I'll put my path in, but only the path for the directory, not the entire file. You'll see why in a few minutes. So I'll paste in my path here and I will leave out the last thing here. That's just the file name. So it will look like this. And then we can, up here in the file name, we can put in our newly created variable that holds this value. So str path, and then we will need to be giving the file extension, that's the backward slash, and then invoice A PDF. This one will read the PDF invoice A, that's the one you just saw. That's it. Let's close down the variables manager, and we can output it to a text as I told you, that's a string. So go up here and press Ctrl K. That will create a new variable. We can call this str output maybe, like this. So now we have read the PDF. I can show you that we have indeed read it. We can drag in a write line and then we can just print out the output. Go up here and run the file. UiPath will run and in a few seconds we have read our PDF. You can go down to output and we can see here that we have our PDF with our 3 invoices in. So now we have a string with all 3 invoices in and we need to split it. And what's the best strategy for this? Well, I delete the write line first and let us inspect this. So we need to find out how many invoices we got here, and that's equal to the pages. So we can count something that is unique on each invoice. So we cannot count invoice because we have an invoice here and here, so that'll be double. Of course we can then divide, but the easiest thing is just to count how many page 1 we have here, or just page. And what we can do here is that we can use the matches. Usually we will use it with regex, and we'll actually create a regex pattern, just a really simple regex pattern. And to do this, we will search for a matches, drag the matches in. What this does, it will take in a string. In our case, this string from the PDF up here. Then we will have a pattern, something to search for, and it will spit out, so to say, a list with all the searches that it found. So in our case, we will ask search for page 1, and it will print out all the page 1 it will find. That will be 3 similar page 1 in a list. Actually, it's an enumerable, but see it as a list. So we will go up here to input. We will take our output from our PDF and use it as an input in matches. Then our pattern. Well, let us inspect it again. That'll be page 1. So go up here. in the pattern, in quotation mark, you can say page 1. You could of course also create a variable so you can vary the pattern, but we'll just think that this is sufficient for now. Then we will print it out to an IEnumerable, so go down to resolve. And the easiest thing, instead of finding the variable itself down here in the variable manager, is to press Ctrl K, and then we can say IEnumerable matches. This is our list, and then we can loop through it, or we can count it or something. And the smart thing here is that we don't need to have the actual value, that's just page 1, but we can count how many times page 1 will occur. So drag in a right line here. And what we can do here is that we can say IEnumerable of matches, that was our variable. Then we can just say count. That one will be an integer. So to print it out, we'll say to string. And hopefully it will be 3 because we'll have 3 invoices here. So we can run the file like this, and we can go down to output again, and we can see that we indeed have 3 pages. So now we know that we have 3 invoices here in our PDF. And remember, this count can vary. We can have a robot that will run every day, and sometimes it's 98 invoices, sometimes it's 12 and something. So this one will automatically tell you how many pages we have in our PDF. Now we can start to split it. So the first thing that we'll do here is that we will have our count here. We will take an assign and say this is the total count. So drag in an assign here, and we will create a new variable. We will be creating an integer, so we can press Ctrl K and call it int, and just say total page like this. And we'll need to go down here to variables, and we will change the string here to an integer. And what is the count of the total pages? Well, we just found out up here, so we will just take this expression and put it in here. So now we have a variable, and we will remember to take off the toString because it will be an integer. So just do this, and you'll have a fine integer of the total page count. We can delete this right line again because we'll not use it. So now what we'll do is that we will create a loop. So we know that we can count from 1 up to the total page count, and that will be how many times we will run our loop, and we can separate these PDFs out. Let me show you instead of explaining. That is often more easy. So we'll create a new variable. Go down to variables, and we will say, we can call this int current page. That's the page that we're on. It's a counter, so to say. So that will be an integer, and we can start it with 1 because that's the easiest thing to do, like this. Then we will have a while loop. So we will say while. A while loop, it does something in this condition. It will just keep on loop until this condition is not met anymore. So be careful with while loops. You will often need to secure that you will not create an infinite loop. I know a guy, he worked as a lead RPA developer in a bank, and he created a loop that day beep the entire system, IT system of the bank. Not very smart. So always secure that you will not create an infinite loop. I'll show you why. So this condition will run. We will have our current page, and we will add 1 to it. So we will say first time the current page is page 1, then 2, 3, up all the way to the total page. So the condition that will be the int current page is less, let me remove this, is less than or equal int total page. And now we need to remember to put add 1 to the current page integer. So find an assign, take it all the way to the bottom of the while loop. There's nothing in it, but it will stay in the bottom. So we will say int current page. That's each time the loop has run, we will add 1 to the current page, like this. So now what we'll do here is that we can run this. So the first time we will split, and we will split it, and we will take the page 1 out. Then we will add 1 to it. We can take page 2 out and page 3 up all the way to the int total page. Does that make sense? If not, I'll show you how. So we will find an extract PDF range. What we will need to specify here is the parent file name. That will be the file name of our entire PDF. That's here, the one you saw here. And then we will have an output file name. That will be where each of the extracted PDF ranges will go. And up here in the ranges, that's a smart thing. We can extract whatever page in a PDF we wanted. So we can, in quotation mark, we can say page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5. The challenging part here is that we don't know the total page. That's why we created this loop, so we can automatically put in up here. We'll just say, what will we extract? We will extract the int, the auto completion int current page to string. This one will give us the current range. So first it will have 1, 2, and then all the way up to the int total page. Does that make sense? Otherwise, follow through. By the way, if you want to help me, please give this video a thumbs up. That will help me a lot. And also, give me a comment, say hello, or I watched this, or thank you, or whatever, or tell me what I can do better. I'll appreciate that. Let's get back. The extract PDF range will have 3 inputs. It will have a file name. That will be our parent PDF with all the invoices in here. Then it will have an output file name. That one we will need to put in a file name, and we'll need to put in a file name for each PDF that we want to separate. In our case 3, but we don't know, so it can be like 100. Then we'll need to be getting a range. So what this does is that in quotation mark we can say extract page 1, extract page 2 into a PDF, 3, 4, and so on. And now this clever thing comes up, because what we want to do is that we want to extract the current page. That will be page 1 in the first case. It will go all the way up to hit the total page, so it will say 1, 2, 3, so on, because it will get added by 1 here. So what we can do is that we can say int current page and then to string, like this. Now the file name, that will just be our parent PDF with all the minor PDFs in, or invoices as you might say, and then we'll have an output file name. So we will place our invoice here in our directory, so we can use the str path. Then we'll say plus, and we will need to have a backward slash, and then we can have what file name we want to use. I'll be using the parent file name, including a unique identifier, which will be the int current page. It will look like this. So we'll say path, and then we'll have a smart property here. We can say get file without extension. What this does is that it can take an entire path like this, and we can put it in here. So, and it will just print out the invoice A. And this will vary in a few minutes, so we will be using this. Now we have this unique, that we have this static thing, that will be the name of the parent PDF. Then we can say plus underscore, we will add our unique part, and that one will be the int current page to string, like this. And now we only need the PDF end. So we can say in quotation mark, we can say PDF, like here. This one will extract our invoices from the parent invoice to our folder here. So we will run the file. Like this, we can go to our folder and we can see that we have extract 3 invoices here, 1, 2, 3, underscore 1, 2, 3, we can even open it. And that one will be the first one. But say now, let me delete these 3 again. Say that we want to do it for all sample invoices that we got here. That we got like 3 invoices with a lot of invoices in each. So how do we do that? What we will do here is that we will find out how many PDFs we got here, and afterwards we will loop through them. So it will look like this. We will need a for each. So find a for each. So we will drag our for each here in the beginning. Take your activities P4 and drag them into the body like this. Let me try again. That worked. So first thing that we'll go up here, go to the for each, mark it, and then in the type argument, change it to a string. Then we will be getting all the files, the PDFs files in our folder. So what we'll do is that we'll say directory, then we'll say get files like this, and where we'll be getting all our files, that's the str path like this. So now we will be getting all our files, we will loop through them, and it will be stored in this item. So instead of the read PDF, we will just have an item here, and we will have the item here as well, because now it will vary, but it will still be A, B, and C, and we'll have it here, and we will have it here. So what we'll need to do is that we will find it here as well, and we will replace this one with item. That's it. Now we have looped through each one of the sample PDFs, and the only thing that we'll need to do is that we'll make sure that we'll reset int current page each time, so we can either change the scope or we can just drag in a symbol and assign. So we'll just say int assign int current page is always equal to 1, so we could actually go down here in variables and we could delete it here. So that's it, we can run it, and now we will have each separate file extracted to our directory from invoice A, B, and C. Here, boom, that's it. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you enjoyed this guide, you can click on my 2-hour UiPath beginners tutorial to the left, or you can take the playlist to the right, which will be advanced UiPath cases. Have a good day. Bye-bye.